Molinari is going to kick it off and talk about social media and talk about all the things that get to happen underneath all of that and some of the lessons that they've learned. So there's one philanthropic magazine did an article and a survey for nonprofits on social media and fundraising, and they had a huge response. And out of that response, less than 100 nonprofits said they got about 100 nonprofits said they got less than $100 in terms of donations, where they didn't know how much they got, and they didn't know how the volunteers came in. So this idea of how do we use the social media, where is it, where do we start, and how much money do we put into it? They also found that the larger the nonprofit, the more experience they had with social media, because they had the staff and they had the wherewithal in order to be able to experiment with it. So one of the reasons why we have this panel here today is we get to learn from them. So let's experiment on them. Let's learn what they've known so that we can start, so we don't have to do so much experimenting. And then Sarah DeVries, again, will talk to us about case studies so that we can see what's going on, and then Kelly will wrap it up. We'd like for this to be an interactive session, so please chime in and give us your experience as well. So Sarah, it's all to you.
All right, great. Well, thanks everybody for coming. This is an exciting topic, and definitely one that is close to me, because I've been living and breathing social media for a while now. So let me ask this. How many folks would consider yourselves a social media expert? All right. Good. We've got some bold folks in the room. I love it.
So you all can come up and join us too. Extra chairs, so you got plenty of microphones.
Oh, there it is. Okay. You know, see, I've got the new fancy version, and it's buttons are on the perfect. All right, clearly I'm not. No. Thank you, Patrick. Good. Yeah, and to that point, as Kathleen said, I'm a PR girl, right? So I'm a public relations person, a spokesperson for the company, and would answer questions for media about all kinds of different topics and things. I am certainly not a techie per se. I'm not always an early adopter of technology. I grew up in a small town. I don't fit the bill at all, right? And so I think it's important to note that with social media, it's really about all of us. Social media is very much a one-to-one. So if I can relate to any one person out there, then that's social media in a sense, from the standpoint of how these different networks and communities and websites work. So it's finding the folks like you and relating to people on an individual basis, as opposed to this idea of let's pick the smartest person in the room and they're the only ones allowed to talk. And social is much more about giving us all a chance to interact, and we all have a voice, and I just love that video because it takes you through this whole evolution of how we communicate, and the aspect of it's not just about any one person's opinion anymore. All of our opinions matter, and that really at the core is what social media is all about. Yes, we've always had suggestion boxes or letters you could mail in and tell a company what you thought, but now you can tell all of your friends, and not just at the neighborhood barbecue, but in an instant, in 5 different social networks, and all of that. Yes, you may have sent it intending your friends to see, but as we know, those things are viewable by everybody, and so they quickly get passed around. And there's any number of case studies out there where a company was ill-prepared for an angry customer, or someone that felt they had been wronged by the company, who was a social media expert, right? So someone who really knew how to take these tools and spread word very, very quickly. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not standing by the mic. Thank you, Patrick. See, I tend to think I talk loud, but not loud enough. Okay, is that better? So this aspect of having any one customer out there that for whatever reason we let down in some way, to take this stage and be able to broadcast that and share that. Now, we need to be prepared to respond to that, and that's really how we got our start. So I'm going to take you through that. We started very informally. It was myself and someone in our interactive marketing group who kind of put heads together and said, wait a minute, we need to be involved here, we need to be a part of the conversations happening. And early on, we went to executives and did some education essentially to talk about what is it that social media means for our business. Let's show you some of these conversations that are out there and show you some of the things that are happening. How many folks now already use monitoring tools or do Twitter searches and whatnot to monitor your organization. Good, good, fantastic. That's a great place to start. Just being aware of what's being said about the organization that you work with, being aware of what your constituents and members of the organization as well are saying. We found that as, I guess it shouldn't have been as eye-opening as it was, but the aspect of what our own employees say about working here and what it's like to work in a store, whether that's somebody who works there for 10 hours a week in college, or someone who's been with the company for years and years and years. These are places where now they're talking about working here, and in good ways, bad ways, and everything in between. Early on, so back in 2008, we started a cross-functional meeting of our peers, and when I say that, it was very informal. We would get together and share with people, hey, let's talk about what is Twitter, how does it work, and what do you do with that? And that really helped us pull together people from a number of different groups within the company to start thinking about this stuff. Everything from HR, to the example I just mentioned, but also groups like legal and groups such as IT and different organizational just representatives that I had worked with already. Even groups like real estate. It's amazing, to pull folks in and show them, hey, here's what people think about that red light in front of our store. Things like that just help people think differently and get feedback differently. We started creating regular report outs, and that's a great way to help raise awareness. So the aspect of just gather a bunch of links and explain to people what those links mean. This is a blog out of Kansas, and here's what this person thought about the new fence that they just had installed, and they're so excited about it, and look at how now they're able to use their backyard in 4 different ways, and they're talking about the fact that they did that through Home Depot, and that's not advertising that we paid for, it's just a real, true customer talking about their experience. Also to pull, looking at YouTube and videos that are out there where people just have, a fun time in our stores sometimes, and the idea of how they share that online, and it might make some of the folks in operations a little nervous, but it's a funny, that's just how people interact with brands these days and how they like to have fun and do their own spoofs and spin-offs and things like that. So sharing that internally is really important. We took a look at what resources do we as a company already have that can be translated into social media very easily. And how many people are familiar with our how-to videos on our website? A couple? Good, good. This is where you can learn how to install a toilet, how to replace a faucet, how to prepare your home for winter, things like that. We've got over 400 videos right on our website that take you through all of those things. So back in February of 2006, we started placing these videos out on YouTube. The concept of fish where the fish are, go ahead and get video in the hands of folks where they're watching video. Who are we to assume that they're all going to come over and find that on our website, or that they'd rather come and watch it on our website? Why not give it to them where they're already watching it? We now syndicate video across 16 different video platforms. Twitter. Twitter is a site that's a heck of a lot of fun, but also a big drain on time. How many folks use Twitter right now? Good. I can't believe I just called it a drain on time. Nobody tweet that. Let me ask this. Actually, we don't have a hashtag for this event. We should do that. If anyone is tweeting today, I don't know if Tech Ed is the right, or Tech Bridge. You want to? Yeah. So we do a hashtag Tech Bridge if you are tweeting about what you're learning today or what we're talking about, or the fact that I just called Twitter something negative. But basically, Twitter is a love-hate relationship for me. I got on Twitter on behalf of the company in early 2008. And it was really to listen. I just wanted to be able to get on there. And you can do that without joining Twitter, but I realized it was silly for a brand like us not to also have a presence there and be available. And the aspect of customer service and how people talk real time about what's happening to them in our stores, at their homes when they get back from our stores, but also just, in transit. Where the heck, I knew there was a store here, where is it? Things like that. The power, the ability to be able to hop into that conversation at that moment in time, when appropriate, and help that person, or answer their question, or guide them to another resource. We have found just tremendous reaction to that. There's a lot of appreciation for companies and organizations like all of yours being accessible in a space like that. And that really was the core of just how we got started. We have a lot of activity around hurricane preparation and when a storm is coming through town, how we as a company are able to stay open the longest, keep our stores staffed, because we actually bring staff in from other communities so that our own associates there can prepare their own homes and families. And so this element of being able to share information about all of that is something we've always done very well with the local media. So again, back to my PR roots, being able to say, you know what, you want to talk about hurricane prep and it's the final hour and what people need to be doing, we're still open, we can still help you with that. And we still have people at our store, there's always folks last minute still, waiting to get their house ready all the way until the very, the rain starts or whatnot. And so we're there for those folks too. And that element of having just access to that type of information, so maybe I'll learn that a store is staying open until midnight because we have additional generators coming in on a truck. So how do you get that kind of information out to people? We might have called the 11 o'clock news and sent them an advisory and some, key points that we wanted to get out to the public. But they might use 1/4 of that. They might list, some of the stores that are staying open, but not the entire list of 12. They might not mention us at all. So the aspect of why wait for the 11 o'clock news was kind of an eye-opening moment for me in 2008 when I realized, wait, I'm sitting on this thing called Twitter. Why not just spread the word? And that's where you'll see that people connect in times of current events, heaven forbid weather events, but anytime there's breaking news or something going on, even in 2008, people were turning to tools like Twitter to connect with other people who were sharing that same experience. So the ability of using a hashtag to connect those conversations, and that's what all that means if you're wondering what the heck a hashtag is. Yeah, okay.
Define hashtag.
Yes.
Twitter.
Yeah, no, and that's where, so the ability to communicate in 140 characters or less is something that a lot of people have mastered. And one way that that's done is, so if you're attending an event, you can't start it by saying, I'm attending this event, here are my thoughts about this event, because that just ate up about 100 characters. So people just use a hashtag. And so that identifies, you just know, okay, that person's talking about either an event they're attending or something going on in the news or something like that. So with hurricanes, for example, you take the name of the storm, and that becomes the hashtag. So it's literally the pound symbol, and then the name of the storm, and people are sharing information. Where can I still buy milk? Where, what gas stations still have gas? Things like that. So it's real-time information in the heat of the moment when folks need it. And there's a number of sophisticated tools that can help you pull in those types of commentary and put it right on your website. So you can pull in widgets from Twitter or Facebook or other status update type sites and share that with your communities as well. But that's where, I take you through the example of YouTube and Twitter just to tell you that this is something that we didn't have to create anything new in order to do. We didn't have to hire people in order to do. It was, let's take existing resources we have and start leveraging that or distributing that in ways that people are using in social media. We've had a focus on customer service since the start of all of this, and a lot of that is really our company overall. So how many folks, if you had your choice between going to Lowe's or Home Depot, and be honest, go to Home Depot? How many folks prefer Lowe's? Be honest, come on. All right, good. Honesty is good. See, social media is all about being honest and who you are. Good. So, there's really a love-hate we find with our brand. Any research we've done behind the brand, folks are not indifferent. You either prefer one or you prefer another. We have some other competitors out there, but that's really our main competitor. So this aspect of how we win that game within social media and whatnot is not really the story at all. It's all about how we treat our customers in our stores. So when you come into our stores, how are you greeted and helped with your project, and are we answering the questions that you came in with? Because, I asked how many folks are social media experts, but how many folks are home improvement experts? You look to us to help you with that. And that's a big part of our role and how we've grown and been successful as a business. Admittedly, we would